We ain't done yet.
Tears of joy.
So far, so good.
KJ, WEEI, good Sunday to you. Oh, boy, were you jumping? Having heat flashes.
Well, Fitzy was jumping and he hurt himself.
I don't care about Fitzy right now. I care about what I saw last night. 617-779-7937. Text line 37937. Think of everything that this team has been put through on the other side of the wall, which is us. What was the narrative in your head with 4 minutes left, up by 9, just to see Jimmy Butler 3.5 minutes later sink 3 free throws and the team is down by 1 with Marcus Smart taking the final shot potentially of the season? Were your emotions the same as they are now? And this is why I take my hat off to this team right now. Look, I think we have to be honest with ourselves. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just an honest thing. That last weekend at this time, there was calling for everything except for a Salem witch trial all over again. Now, Joe, I don't know about you, but if you want to put your back up against the wall in Section 322, it's going to cost you $1,000.
I know. I initially looked on Saturday before there was even a game thought of.
Why even fool yourself when you suddenly know that every CEO that has even a satellite office in Boston is going to buy up all those tickets and jack up the prices? You already know that. The section I like to sit in is like 7, where it's kind of it's on the end line, but it's kind of raised a little so you can see all the action. A little obscured to your left or right, depending on which way you're looking at the action. But yeah, those tickets right now, almost $2,000 a pair, $2,000 each. I'm sorry. So if you thought you spent money on Taylor Swift a couple weeks ago, this is worth it. This team fought for the city. I don't know if you saw any of the post-game pictures or anything. The hug between Tatum and Brown, as literally when Brown has his hands up, he's in prayer. He's standing in prayer and thanks. And him and Tatum give each other an emotional rescue to the city. Let's call it what it is. All the time, over the last couple of years, when the question has been, do these guys play for themselves or do they play for the fan base? Last night, the fan base got it. So be honest. There's nothing wrong with kind of treating this relationship at fandom here in New England. It's normal. Joe, I don't know if you've ever been to summer camp where you get into summer camp relationships. Well, let's say you're in summer camp for 2 weeks, but you could go through 3 girlfriends and high-stake dramas in those 2 weeks. Tuesday you meet. Thursday you're hanging out and kissing behind the cabin, if you will. Saturday somebody said something about somebody. It's no different than these series, which are each their own mini movies.
Yeah, I can't say I've personally been in that, but I've seen a lot of movies played off of it.
They're fun. I've been in one real one, especially when they're like religious based, because everybody's so pent up. Like, you must keep to yourself forever. It's like, but she's cute, and she thinks I'm cute too. Let's sneak behind this cabin over here and kiss. Celtics gave the fan base a nice kiss behind the cabin last night. Here's Jason Tatum and his thoughts right after the game last night.
Ooh-wee. Oh, my God. That was incredible. Man, we drove a play. They kind of took the way that, I was trying to get the ball. Jimmy and Strus jumped out to me. Smart came in and shot it, and we just crashed the glass. And everything was like a blur after that. D. White tipped it in, but, that felt like the longest 10 seconds ever waiting for confirmation if he made it or not. I'm still, in disbelief. That was crazy.
It was. But my immediate tweet was, that was it. Because here's what some of us in this industry and radio can tell you. Our eyes are much better than our ears. We've got headphones on. Listening goes down. I say a lot to my wife. Some of it is, pre-planned. Other of it is really I can't hear. But my eyes pick up things fast. And I knew that ball was immediately in. And it wasn't me jumping up and down and screaming, thinking like, wow. It was one of those things where I said, that's in for the fan base. What would be the conversation if they had lost? Being dead honest with you, Joe, after they went down 3-0, created a parody. That thing is probably going to stay on the shelf forever just so that it's not a jinx, even if they lose in the NBA Finals and they make it there. Am I lying? Is there not a parody waiting?
We did have a parody queued up if they were to lose the game.
That's right. But when Derrick White put that basket back, that follow up, I said that was it. That was for the fan base. That's for those who believe that this team is all about themselves, who have made these comments, which are absolutely crazy, that you want to split up Tatum and Brown. And the question that I've always asked is, who are you going to get back? It was like me in that summer camp. If I give up that girl who I met that Tuesday, who am I going to get in return? It was nothing ever better. I can tell you that over the couple of weeks. And the counselors did have a conversation with me about kind of making my way through the Bible camp. Hey, I'm an Old Testament guy. But look, Joe Mazzulla, I said this last week in the spell of everything that was going on, will be the coach next year. You don't believe it now? I said he would be the coach next year because he looked out for management when management was in a bind with its previous coaching situation. Now, anybody who sits there and tells you, oh, man, you gotta move on from Mazzulla, you're not a believer. You don't believe that things work out for those who believe. I was one of those that said, hey, Joe, can you tap Tatum on the shoulder, potentially get in the face of Jimmy Butler? What have you seen in the last couple of games? Now, in fairness, since I've said that, I think 3 games have been played. I wasn't here since last weekend. But I sure did see that happening. I even saw chances of Jason Tatum to flash over to. I even started hearing the announcer saying what I'd said last week. Try and get Tatum over on the switch to get to Butler. I was like, amazing. I mean, I'm no Stan Van Gundy, but damn, it's not hard to be. 617-779-7937. Text line 37937. KJ, WEEI. Can you now understand or appreciate, despite what happens Monday night, can you appreciate how great of a team this is in the bigger picture of the NBA? It can be very hard for us to appreciate what we have when it's our own. You don't think the Clippers would be willing to say, hey, whatever you want off of this roster, give us one of those Brown or Tatums. Give me one of them. Or if you're the Phoenix Suns, whoa, hey, you guys still want some of that Durant rumor? There is no 2 players in the league right now that could make me want to split up Tatum and Brown. And for those who have seen that video, the 2 of them in the locker room, as Jaylen Brown is literally with his hands up praying, who I've said is an earth guy, and I've said this guy kind of loves Boston, but he's trying to do something that really hasn't been allowed for some years. Make a difference, be more than just a ball player, create community. That's something to be appreciative. Can you appreciate what we have? 617-779-7937. Text line 37937. Here's Jaylen Brown on the feelings of coming back to Boston now.
It gives you a supreme boost in confidence, man. It don't get too much worse than being down 0-3. Like, we feel like we've been held back. So, you know, we feel like we can face any adversity that gets thrown at us in the duration of a game or duration of a season or in a postseason. So it all means nothing if we don't come out and give our best effort on our home floor on Monday night.
Hell and back. Can we admit we were putting the gasoline draws on the guys when they were on their way to hell sometimes? Is this going to be the point of this team's existence where you say, you know what? I wouldn't have any other. I wouldn't. In a league where most players, superstars, think of all the superstars in the league past 5 years in their contract. A lot of them are not with their original team. LeBron has set a standard like, hey, you can go several places and grab 2 other guys if you want to do it. Or make that mandatory. This is that place. This is a place where you have 2 guys drafted year after year who have stuck it out. In spite of some of the gasoline drawers we've put them through as they were going through hell. Can you appreciate what we have?